Good day, students. I hope you are doing well today. I will be presenting Unit 3, 4 and 5 of Music and Drama for the Diploma in Pre-Primary Education. Okay, we'll just quickly look at the outline of the 3 units and what they are about. Unit 3 gives you ways to involve learners in dancing activities, which includes traditional dances. Unit 4, we look at how to involve learners in drama activities. And Unit 5, how to express artistic opinions in an assertive manner. If you look at these 3 units, you will see that they all involve very practical aspects. There's a lot of information in these 3 units. Due to time constraints, I only took out the most important parts. Be sure that you at least read through everything. It's not so much based on facts, it's more based on practical activities, like I said. So make sure that you understand what it is all about. All right, so without further ado, let's go look at Unit 3. The outline. You will see that there are 15 different points, and I'll shortly discuss most of them. All right, the very first one is the importance and type of warm-up exercises before you do dancing with your learners. I'm not going to read through everything, I'll just point out the most important parts. As you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different exercises that you can do to warm up your learners. This is important to warm up to prevent any injuries that might happen when you do dancing in your classes. As you see, you can do it from the top. You start with your neck, turning the neck and warming up the neck. Be careful when you do neck exercises that the learners don't jerk their necks because they can hurt some of their muscles. Hip swings, very simple, just swinging the hips. You can go do it from right to left, or also pretend that you are in one big can and you're making circling movements with the hips. Heel raises, this is the warm-up for the calves and the hamstrings. So you can stand up straight and then raise your heels off the floor. So in other words, you're standing on your toes and you go down again. And you repeat this movement. Leg swings is just to warm up the leg muscles. And lunge stretches. Lunge means to go down while you are standing on your feet and you are bending down to the floor, keeping your back straight. And then you come up again. All right, so repeating these exercises, you do it a few times, and that is how you warm up before you start your dancing activities. Okay, we're going to look a little bit at the anatomy of our bodies. And we know that our bodies consist of bones, muscles, and joints. We look at the different types of joints that they mention in your study guide, and we see there are hinge joints. That is like your knees and elbows, and it lets us bend and unbend parts of our bodies. Pivot joints are the ones like between your neck and your skull that allow for a little bit of twisting. So these are the smaller type of joints. Ellipsoidal joints, I might be pronouncing that wrongly, is like the wrist joints. So it allows for many types of movement, but they don't pivot and they don't have the same rotation range as a ball and socket joint. Even though moderate exercise is good for your body, it can cause stress on your joints if you don't do it correctly. So in order to do your exercises correctly and use your joints correctly, not to injure them, here are some points that you can use to prevent injuries. All right, so when you do your exercises, look at a regimen that builds gradually. This means don't jump into very hard type of exercises. Build your muscles slowly. Opt for exercise with low impact that basically builds on the first point. Always warm your body up before beginning your exercise. Ensure that you wear the correct footwear when exercising. This is a very important point. Most people don't wear the correct footwear, and that can really hurt their joints, knee joints and ankle joints. Never push your body to exercise when your joints are sore. When your joints are sore, it means that you have been working too hard or you didn't warm up very well. Refrain from exercising on a hard surface. So maybe you can use something like a yoga mat or exercise mat, which is nice and soft. Learn how to land lightly on your feet. This will take some practice. So that goes together with the low impact exercises. Make sure that you are using the correct technique when executing your exercise moves. And remember, always cool your body down at the end of a workout. This is probably the most important point, is to not only warm up, but also cool down your body at the end of your exercise. This will help for sore muscles eventually, and also keep your joints safe. Okay. The next point I've taken out of the study guide is some related terms to muscles. We see there are quite a number of them, so I will just shortly go through everyone. The core is the dancer's center, and it involves a balance of stability and strength between the abdominal muscles. The diaphragm is the most important breathing muscle. It spans from the front and the side, from the front to back and side to side at the level of the lower ribs. In other words, it's just underneath your ribs, almost in the middle of where your ribs end, your rib cage. The hip joint muscles, the lateral rotators, are found deep in the buttock region. The medial rotators have a dual function of internal rotation and abduction. They are the antagonists or opposite muscle groups to the lateral rotators. The extensors are used in moving the leg backwards, in jumping, and in straightening from a crouch position. The flexors bring the leg forward or the knee toward the chest. Iliotibial band is a fibrous muscle structure running from the outside of the hip joint to the lower leg just below the knee joint. The hamstring is a group of muscles found along the back of the leg, running from the pelvis to just below the knee, that affect hip and knee movements. Okay, so these are a lot of terms that we use. In your study guide, you will find a picture of a human and all the muscles and indicators of where exactly all of these certain types of muscles are located. Take a look at them. Just have an idea of where each muscle is. You don't have to go into detail. You are working with learners, small learners. Just be aware of the most important terms that one uses when you exercise. All right. So we continue further and we look at, again, at muscle, which they describe as composed of contractile tissue with elastic properties. So we get smooth muscles that act involuntarily and is found principally in the internal organs. Cardiac muscle also acts involuntarily and is found around the heart. Skeletal muscle is straightened because of different groups and fibers bundled together. And posture involves maintaining a certain alignment of the body. So as you can see, you've heard of these terms before. Just make sure you apply them in the right places. Okay. We continue further with some more terms. Respiration means breathing. That is a means of revitalizing tissue. When a dancer takes in air, he or she is taking in oxygen or fuel, bringing energy to the muscles and vital organs. Breathing is therefore an important part of exercising, and learning to breathe correctly is also very important. Rotator cuff is a group of 4 muscles extending from the scapula, which is your shoulder blade, to the head of the humerus, which is your shoulder. A tendon is the longer fibrous end of a muscle that serves to attach it to the periosteum, the outer layer of the bone. All right. Google some pictures about these muscle and related terms so that you can be sure where exactly everyone is. All right. So we're going to move on to 3.4, which gives us some anatomy terms related to dance. As you can see, there's a lot of terms in this unit. Don't panic. Just read through it and just make sure you understand it. All right. So general anatomical terms. The first one is anatomical position. Descriptions in human anatomy are expressed in relation to the anatomical position. So positions that we get is the superior position, that means towards the head. Inferior means towards the feet. Anterior, toward the front of the body. Posterior, toward the back of the body. Medial, toward the midline of the body, and lateral position away from the midline of the body. If you look at the terms, superior means to be higher, inferior, lower, anterior is the front, posterior, back, medial in the middle, and lateral away from the middle. Okay. We continue with body cavity. Cavity means that there is some, how shall I put it now? A cavity is almost like a hole, there's a space there. So the body cavity houses the internal organs. There are 3 main body cavities: the thoracic cavity, the abdominal cavity, and the pelvic cavity. An organ is a group of tissues that perform a particular function. Pelvic floor is a group of muscles that reach from the pubic bone back to the sacrum. Tissue is a group or collection of similar cells and their intercellular substance that act together to perform a particular function. The viscera is any internal organ. I want to emphasize again that just reading through and getting an idea or maybe pictures of where these certain parts of the bodies are is probably the best thing to do. Right. Some terms related to dance. We get the body system, organs that work together to perform major body functions like breathing, digesting, moving and reacting to external stimuli. So we're working here with the anatomy terms related to dance. Okay, so some examples can include the cardiovascular, and as you remember earlier, cardio has to do with the heart, digestive system, the endocrine system, integumentary system, muscular, nervous system, respiratory system, and skeletal, which is composed of bones and cartilage. Okay, I move on to 3.6, where I will just mention a few famous historical ballet dancers that one finds in the world. These ballet dancers are classified as legendary because of their exceptional talent in ballet. So the 5 names is Marie Taglioni, Anna Pavlovna, Vaslav Nijinsky, Rudolf Nureyev, and Margot Fontaine. All right. I only mention these. It's not necessary for you to study every ballet dancer mentioned here. This is just for general knowledge. Most of Unit 3 focuses just on background and terms and general knowledge. Right. 3.7 is the principles of body conditioning. Physical health benefits. For an optimal exercise program schedule, and a coach or athlete needs to adhere to the following 6 principles of exercise science. All right. So you as a teacher, when you start working with your learners, you need to be very careful and aware of the following 6 principles when you work with your learners. The first one is that there are many individual differences. So not all the learners will be able to do all the type of exercises that you would like them to do, and probably not to the extent that you would like them to perform. Overload. This principle is to increase the workload accordingly. Progression is the gradual and systematic increase of the workload over a period of time. So the word progression means to progress in a gradual way. Adaptation, the body's ability to adjust to increased or decreased physical demands. So your body has a way to adjust to certain exercises. Use or disuse. This simply means if you don't continue to use your body on a regular basis or do regular exercises, you will lose your fitness, you will lose your flexibility, and so on. The principle of specificity, exercising a certain body part or component of the body primarily develops that part. All right. Three 3.8, we will be looking at how to select music for a dance scenario. Picking the right song is vital to creating great choreography. The first thing you need to do as a coach or choreographer is to identify your audience and the purpose of the choreography. So it's important to know who is going to watch the dance show and what will be the meaning of the dance show. Start exploring songs that will connect them to your choreography. Consider the emotions and feelings you want to communicate. This is the feelings and emotions you want to communicate through the dance to the audience. So if you stick to these 3 vital aspects, you should be able to have a very good choreography in the dance. Okay. How to involve learners in dancing activities, including traditional dances. Again, this is a very long point in your study guide. I'm just taking out the most important parts. Okay. So for learners, dance is a fun way to exercise and be creative. Involving learners in dance activities is an effective way to improve their physical fitness and creativity. It helps them to gain greater coordination and body control. It also helps them to express themselves physically and creatively. They don't have to be enrolled in formal classes in order to reap the benefits of dance, and you can incorporate dance activities into many settings, such as the classroom environment at school. In other words, dances can be used as a means to learn. It can go cross-curricular to learn different types of things. Some other benefits of dance activities for learners is that the large and small muscles skills are developed. we all know about the fine motor skills and the gross motor skills. Fine motor skills has to do with the small muscles of your body. In other words, something like writing, coordinating hand and eye movements, creating works of art, moving your eyes or lips are examples of fine motor coordination. Gross motor skills is the first motor skill or set of skills that children learn to master. Examples of this is sitting, using your arms, legs or feet, walking and running are all examples of gross motor skills. So there are lots of benefits of dance activities for learners. Right. Some ways to boost your young learners' physical development. Here are just some examples that you can use in your class. There are many more in your study guide. These are just a few. You can make an obstacle course in your class, play pretend games. Children love to play pretend games. Use their imaginations to make it more interesting. Play ball, dance to music, place a string on the ground, and pretend that the string is a tightrope or a pirate ship's plank to develop balance. Large muscle group activities. Here you can use balls, hoops, and beanbags. So these are all fun exercises that help the learners to develop their physical fitness and muscle. We're going to move over to traditional and modern dances. Traditional dance is a form of dance developed by a group of people that reflects the traditional life of the people of a certain country or region. Folk dancing usually involves a group of happy people following dance instructions from an experienced caller. The dancer performs steps in a certain formation, such as a circle or a straight line. Modern dance is a style that encourages individual creativity and freedom of self-expression, and is probably one of the most popular dance forms today. Its interest is higher than ever, and the demand for instruction is so great that the courses are now offered in more and more public schools, colleges, and community education centers. When we look at suitable music for modern and traditional dances, we have to be careful in what we choose, and we also have to look at what population we are working with. Modern dancers use dancing to express their innermost emotions and often to get closer to their inner selves. So this is almost like a therapeutic type of dance. Before attempting to choreograph a routine, the modern dancer decides which emotion to try to convey to the audience. Many modern dancers choose a subject near and dear to their hearts, such as a lost love or a personal failure. Music for traditional dances. The most widely used musical instrument in Africa is the human voice. In an African community, coming together in response to the beating of the drum is an opportunity to give one another a sense of belonging and of solidarity, a time to connect with each other and be part of a collective rhythm of the life in which young and old, rich and poor, men and women are all invited to contribute to the society. All right, 3.12, choreographed dances for young learners. Here is just some guidelines that one can remember. Keep in mind the purpose of dancing with young learners is mainly to have fun, dance in time and temp to the music, and develop a love for dancing. Everything else is secondary. So the main idea for young learners is to have fun. Don't worry too much about right and left feet or right and left hand. proper holding positions and correct steps. You might use a two-handed swing instead of a right or left-handed swing. Simplify steps so learners can first learn the dance. So the main point here is to just relax and to have fun when you do dancing with learners. It does not have to be perfect. Okay. All right. Appropriate dances for a specific age. I know this is quite a lot. I'm just going to mention them. So there are a variety of dance styles that exist, which will make dancing for your learners much easier. Some of the most popular types of dances for learners include ballet, jazz, tap, hip-hop, ballroom, Irish, and modern. It's a good thing for you to use your imagination and create a variety of fun games that will be appropriate for younger learners. Okay, 3.14. Again, we look at the physical health benefits of regular dancing. You will notice that there are some aspects of Unit 3 that repeats itself in different ways. So just make sure you take out those things that are quite important. There are 4 health benefits of dance. One is flexibility, which means the greater range of the motion, the more muscle can flex and extend. Strength is the ability of a muscle to exert a force against resistance. Endurance is the ability of muscles to work hard for increasingly longer periods of time without becoming tired. And then lastly, a sense of well-being. Whenever we do any kind of exercise, in this case dancing, we feel good because we can release some tension and reduce stress. All right, that's the end of Unit 3. I'm going to go over to Unit 4 now. And here's just an outline. Unit 4 has 10 points. And it's about how to involve learners in drama activities. So when we look at the pre-primary learners and how to involve them, we see, I'm sorry, did I skip now? No. Educational drama, as it is envisaged in the curriculum, is a creative process that allows learners to explore the full potential of drama as a learning experience. It is an improvisational in nature and has as its aim a quest for knowledge that involves every aspect of a learner's personality, the spiritual, moral, emotional, intellectual, and physical. I just want to mention that improvisational in nature means that it's something that's not set up before the time. When we do improvisation, we do whatever comes to our minds at that time. So the learner enters an imagined context, which is the drama world, through enacting a fiction about characters in certain circumstances and at some particular time and in some particular situation, and so can explore in a unique way conflicts, issues, consequences, attitudes, emotions, concerns, and preoccupations that are important to the understanding of real life. This is a very long sentence, but basically what it is saying is that through drama activities, learners can learn how to deal with issues in real life by acting them out in a classroom situation. The development and learning power of drama lies in the particular nature of the drama experience. In other words, in surrendering to the fiction, in projecting him or herself imaginatively into a situation, knowing and living the circumstances, dilemmas, choices, and actions of a fictitious character and their consequences, refracting all this through his or her own personality, the learner can come to new perceptions. Drama thus provides a unique gateway to learning and affords a dimension of knowledge that is otherwise inaccessible. All right. We're quickly going to look at mime. Miming involves learners using their imaginations to act out a scene or depict a story without using any words. So miming means to not talk. There are no conversation there. It is an integral part of drama, and the following activities enable the learners to improve their mime skills. Learners often find mime easier because they don't have to speak. Mime encourages confidence and awareness of self and of others. It encourages physical control, simplicity of thought and movement, and more importantly, it stimulates the imagination. I'm sure all of you have seen people that mime. On TV, sometimes we see people who mime. They're standing on the street, they painted their faces white, and they are making movements, telling a story, but they're not using words at all. So that basically is miming. Okay. Next, we'll look at how to teach learners to act by posing different emotions. Emotions can be explored by making faces in handheld mirrors. So you can give a mirror to a child in your class or to all the children and ask them to make happy faces, angry, scared, sleepy faces, or sad faces. They can take pictures with a camera phone or digital camera and then show them the pictures. You can even print out the pictures and make an emotion book. Write the emotion under each one. If you work with autistic learners, an emotion book is great for helping the learners recognize other people's feelings. In most cases, these type of emotion books are used for children who struggle with emotions and struggle to express themselves. So when they have a picture, it's easier for them to communicate. All right. The use and value of masks, props, and costumes in drama. Okay, there's a question. Why do we wear masks in drama? One reason for wearing masks is to pretend to be someone or something else. The mask can be a kind of language that expresses the emotion of the figure one chooses to create. So, yes, masks can give us a different identity when we use them. Props, mostly stage props, or when used in film, is objects that the characters or actors use in a drama. Costumes are the clothing that the characters wear. Props help learners to play out a scene, and costumes help them to stay in character. So you can always remember that props are the things, objects that are movable. They are not stuck to the stage. It can be something like an umbrella that an actor uses. Costumes are there to help set the scene. If we are doing a play from the 1800s, then the costume that the actor wears has to present or represent that period of time. Okay. Moving on to the role of voice and movement in characterization. When using your voice during drama, you have to think about the tone of voice. In other words, does the voice sound appropriate? Is it soft, angry, happy? Is it suitable for the character that you are playing? The volume, that has to do with the loudness or quietness of your speech. Of course, when you are in a theater, it's important to talk loud enough so that everybody can hear you. Pitch, that has to do with the high and low of the voice. Okay. If you are going to play a clown, what should your voice sound like? Should you be very serious? Do you speak in a low voice or a high voice? You need to think about these things. The pace has to do with how quickly you are saying your lines. Are you talking too fast or too slow? And can you pick up whether the audience is following you? Clarity. Have you practiced speaking very, very clearly? This is crucial. Many people struggle with speaking clearly. And there are specific exercises that actors do before they get onto stage to warm up their voices, to make sure that they pronounce all their words correctly and clearly. These 4.6, 4.7, 4.8, and 4.10, these points I have not put into this presentation. I feel it is important for you to just read through this and just have a general knowledge or background of what is going on in these points. All right, so I'm going to go on to 4.9 on how drama activities could be used in many subjects to make learning interesting and participative. Okay, so again, here we can go cross-curricular. We can use drama as we use music. We can use them in different subjects to learn. So drama can foster language skills such as reading, writing, speaking, and listening by creating a suitable context. It's a powerful language teaching tool, can provide learners the means for connecting to learners' emotions and cognition, as it enables them to take risks with language and experience the connection between thought and action. Dramatic arts education is an important means of stimulating creativity in problem solving. It challenges the learner's perceptions about their world and about themselves. Dramatic exploration can provide the learner with an outlet for emotions, thoughts, and dreams that they might have at that moment or might not have another means to do that. So as you can see, drama can be very, very, very useful activity to help learners grow on all the levels mentioned earlier. So that would be the end of Unit 4. Going to move over to Unit 5 now. And here we look at how to express artistic opinions in an assertive manner. All right, so I think very first thing that we need to look at is what is assertiveness. Assertiveness is a way of expressing yourself with respect, giving criticism, positive criticism. Assertiveness is also standing up for yourself and saying how you feel without hurting another person. So in 5.1, we look at how to appreciate artistic work of arts. Okay? Art appreciation is acquired. It does not just happen. So in other words, one has to learn how to appreciate art. And before one can do that, it must be understood and it must be seen as something that each person is entitled to engage in. Art is not only for the elite or for those who can afford it. Okay. Art is a way of engaging the senses. In other words, art encompasses everything in life. Okay. The question here that we have is, what is art? Okay. Art is visual. Art is a way of looking at the world. A person who makes a piece of art is representing some aspect of his life or some aspect of life in general. Thus, it is something visual. Art is a way of thinking. Thoughts and words are made into art. So, in other words, a piece of art will have a message that you can interpret. Art is free. You don't have to buy or pay to appreciate art. It is a way of using one's God-given talents to create in thought, word, and deed. And lastly, art is creative. Creativity is an inborn spirit that makes each person who they are. The next point, we will be looking at art critique. Sorry for the spelling mistake there. Some art critique steps. So here we answer the question, how to appreciate artistic works of art. And there are 4 main steps that you need to take. You need to describe, analyze, interpret, and evaluate. Okay. The study guide explains it in much more detail, but it is quite simple. Describe means to say what you see. What do you see in this work of art? It involves more the technical descriptions and nothing more. So you don't evaluate there, you don't interpret, you just say, what do you see? The next step is to analyze the work. So you analyze the technical elements that you need to look at. In other words, the form, the shape, the size, the colors. After that, you come to the interpretation of the artworks. Okay. Then you have the opportunity to say, what does this piece of artwork means to you and why? What message do you get? And lastly, evaluate the artwork is a summarization. It's a summary of the art criticism process leading up to this point. So the first 3 points you need in order to do the evaluation. Okay. Again, 5.2, 5.3 and 5.4 are very general aspects in the study guide. Read through it. It's not difficult. As long as you have the background information of this, you should be okay. You don't have to go into detail about this. Very last point, 5.5, is how to teach learners to work in a group. And the ability to work well in groups is one of the most important skills we can teach our learners, regardless of discipline. The following is a list of methods that you can use to come up with unique ways to make your learners realize the value of group work by themselves. Storytelling is one. They can come up with vivid stories about the vaguest topics and be extremely creative about them. One method, to do storytelling is to have learners sit in a group, and the first learner starts with, one day, long time ago, there was a little boy. The next learner continues with the next sentence of the story. And in this way, the entire group is involved in creating a new story. They use their imaginations and they become more and more creative. Practical teaching involve them in games and arts and crafts projects that will show them that working together makes the job easier and faster. This is a very important thing that one can use in school, is to have your learners work together in groups. It helps them to socialize, it helps them to share and to give. Healthy competitions. We all know that there's always competitions going on in school on all levels, so you can use this in a positive way. To educate your learners that sticking together as a group is more important than victory. Personal experience. Begin a class with a small story about group work, then give them some time to ponder about it or over it, and then ask each of them to come up and tell you what they have learned from the story. In other words, this last one, personal experiences, has to do with their ideas of what group work is. All right, we have come to the end of Unit 5. I wish you the best of luck. I think Unit 1 and 2 is probably the most important units in your books. 3, 4, and 5, make sure you read through it, make sure you understand it. It is not difficult. If there are any terms that you struggle with, look it up in your dictionary or look it up online. And remember to use it practically. Thank you.